When Cardinal Mahony states that if passed by Congress, he's going to advise his priests to disobey the law, he violates his own office.
In opposition to proposed immigration legislation, Cardinal Roger Mahony was reported to order his clergy to disobey the law. As quoted in the Washington Times, he said, "If current efforts in Congress make it a felony to shield or offer support to illegal immigrants," Cardinal Mahony said he will instruct his priests and the faithful lay Catholics to defy the law. In an earlier interview with Full Disclosure, the Cardinal shared his feelings about the role of the Catholic Church in dealing with the immigrants, both legal and illegal.
My concern is to reach out with pastoral care to the people who are here in our community. The church is not the Border Patrol. So I can't be too concerned about how people got here. I need to find out how can we serve them. They are here.
Stanley Interrante is an international radio broadcaster, featured as the host of Catholic News and Views on St. Joseph's Radio, which is broadcast on the EWTN satellite network, founded by Mother Angelica. Mr. Interrante has been featured as a contributing journalist with the Catholic Wanderer, published out of St. Paul, Minnesota. He is also a retired law enforcement officer, having served as a detective in the fraud detail of the Orange County Sheriff's Department. We asked Mr. Interrante to give us his expert opinion of the Cardinal's statement.
I believe that there is a misconception out there that the Cardinal, as a representative of the Church, will not be able to render basic pastoral care and services to anyone unless they first determine their legal immigration status. That is not the case if this legislation becomes law, and Congressman Sensenbrenner has stated such.
So why is the Cardinal so antagonistic to the proposed legislation? We asked Cardinal Mahony to explain his reason for advocating for immigrants. Why does he think all these millions of people are coming to the United States?
People basically don't want to leave their homeland. Nobody wants to leave their homeland. The only reason they do it as a last resort is because they can't afford to take care of their families.
They come here for economic betterment, okay? I mean, that's it. They're trying to better their lives, and we should understand that. Well, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 2429, states that everyone has the right of economic initiative, but qualifies this by stating, and I quote, he, meaning the immigrant, he should seek to observe regulations issued by legitimate authority for the sake of the common good, end quote. Now, that also would apply to the Cardinal and anyone who is under his jurisdiction, for example, the clergy. The Church is very clear about that. We have an obligation to observe lawful, proper law of the country within which they come.
Los Angeles County Sheriff Baca is very clear about the fact that undocumented entry is unlawful, especially after deportation.
And when you get deported, you really ought not come back to the United States. It's a felony to re-enter the United States and commit no crime at all.
We asked Mr. Interrante if he thought the proposed immigration legislation should be of concern to the Catholic Church.
The answer to him is no. We're trying to curtail illegal immigration primarily at the border, which, as everyone should know, is an open border.
So what's the responsibility of the Church? We asked Mr. Interrante to explain the difference of giving aid to the poor and giving amnesty to illegal immigrants.
The Church has the responsibility of aiding and assisting Catholics or anybody in great need. For example, if you have a family down the street and they're in need of food and they're starving, by all means, render aid if they come to your attention, and you're a parish, you're a church.
Do you think the Cardinal and the priests, his subordinates, have a responsibility to report to the federal government knowledge of people that are here illegally?
I would say yes, absolutely.
And
that does not in any way impede their rendering of pastoral service.
Mr. Interrante is quite adamant in condemning Cardinal Mahony's position on immigration.
When Cardinal Mahony states that if passed by Congress, he's going to advise his priests to disobey the law, he violates his own office. As I stated to you before, even Jesus said, render to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. And that, of course, presupposes just law. There is no obligation to enforce unjust law. But immigration regulation is just.
So when should the church get involved in politics and public policy, we ask him.
Public policy with respect to right to kill the preborn. Public policy with respect to euthanasia, allowing people to commit suicide. Okay? That's public policy. It's wrong. It's unjust. With respect to moral issues, there is a higher law in respect to that. And therefore, the church not only has the right, but the obligation to address publicly those issues. Immigration reform does not fall in that category.
Following Cardinal Mahony's original statement, a priest by the name of Father Michael Gutierrez at St. Anne's Catholic Church in Santa Monica was reported to have declared that his church would welcome immigrants regardless of any laws Congress may pass. He said, "This is not our law. We follow God's law." We want to know what you, the viewers, think. Please respond to our survey and leave your comments below. Number 1. Do you think that the Catholic Church or any religious organization should take a stand against increasing enforcement of immigration laws? Yes or no? Number 2, do you think that the Cardinal is overstepping his bounds of his clerical responsibility by advocating open, blatant civil disobedience? Yes or no? Please be sure to leave your comments below, and if you leave your email address, we'll get back to you. Thank you.